Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis, and I have this great team that God has provided for me that I couldn't do without. Today, all we have is the most important person, my assistant, my faithful assistant, Faith. And Faith has been my assistant since the day she was born. Her dad brought her in. I think she was 3 weeks old, and he would work the soundboard with one hand, and he'd hold Faith with the other. And when she was old enough to crawl, she crawled right up on stage as if that was like where she would belong. So I just stepped over her as I was talking, and we let her just hang out up there. And then she would sit on the podium and do announcements with me. And I think people paid more attention with her up there. And she grew up like 6 blocks from my house, and her dad was a tow truck driver. So he would drop the girls at my house when he'd go on out of town tows. And so she kind of grew up at my house a little bit. And I'm a project person, so we were always doing projects, and she's so good at everything, right? And so when she said at 14 and a half, I want a real job, I was like, yeah, I'll hire you for my ozone business because I've seen your work. And she turned out to be one of my best assistants ever. And so I hired her for my ozone business, and we did that until the pandemic. And then when the pandemic hit, we decided to go live with church services. And I asked her if she would be my ministerial assistant, and she said yes. So here she is. She's behind the scenes doing everything so that all I have to do is talk. I love that because I can't multitask and talk at the same time. Somehow the words get all tripped up, and then I forget where I'm going, and it's just not a pretty sight. So without Faith, I really couldn't do this service. So thank you, Faith, for all your work. But also, she is our soloist, and she is going to be performing Lay It Down on the Altar of Love. It's called Altar of Love, and it is on, I told you I would forget. Which one is it?
All About Love.
It's on the All About Love CD. I told her, I said, we'll see if I remember in 5 minutes, right? It's just the way my mind works. But anyway, so thank you, Faith, for being here. I so appreciate you. Okay. And Oz is off doing something this morning. He is my first baby practitioner and served as my board president for many years until he moved off to Florida. And he seems to be a busy guy these days. So we have him sometimes and we don't have him other times, but we lost the ability when he moved off to Florida. We lost the ability to have him be our practitioner of the day. And so now we do, because we're doing this online, I reached out to him and I said, hey, are you interested? And he said, yes, I'm on board. So we've been meeting almost 4 years, hasn't it been, Faith? I think it's been almost 4 years.
Easter will be 4 years.
Wow. It seems like I can't believe it's been that long. So thank you. Anyway, and so he usually is the person who does our invocation and benediction, and he's available at the end for our 1-minute miracle. So today, that's me. So I'd like to invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Surely the presence of God is right here, right now, in all places, in all things, through all people. So I know that that is where I find myself, in the midst of God, my very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am. And it is so also for Faith and Oz and Lynn and Tina and Karen and Elaine. For I know that we are all one, in it, through it, by it, as it. And each person here, whether you're listening in real time or later on, is enveloped in that same essence, that same life, that same love, that same beingness. And so as we go forward in the service today, I know that all are inspired and uplifted by the message that God is speaking through me at this time. I bless it, I call it good, and I give thanks for it. My heart just fills with gratitude, and I just let it be. And so it is. Amen. This next song is one that Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver did when she was in her practitioner training. And it's a great way for us to remember how connected we all are.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I receive, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
Yes, we are all one in it. I couldn't do this without Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver's music and Karen Drucker's music. We could do a service where I just spoke for an hour, but I tend to think it's boring. I really like the full experience of music in church and all of that. And so Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver has asked us to use her music, and Karen Drucker has gifted us with her entire collection. So I consider them part of the adjunct music team here. There's a watch party button where you can click on that and invite your friends. And it's a great way for them to see what kind of Sunday services they can have. And you can talk amongst yourselves because it's a private chat. So it's a great way to introduce people to what we teach. And it's also a great way for them to be able to ask questions and have you answer them. So there you go. All right. Let's see. Did I forget anything? I don't think so. Oh, say hi, hello, good morning if you're here. Just let us know that you're here. When we're in a facility, I can look out in the audience and see these shining faces, gleaming back at me. And here I don't even get names. I just get a number. So we appreciate it if you let us know that you're here. If you're visiting us later, just drop us a line and say hi. Just let us know that you visited. All right. If you like something that is said, whether it's something I say or Faith sings, by all means, use that thumbs up to let us know you like it. If you love something, send us hearts, because we love to get love. And if something seems or strikes you as being very powerful, then by all means, use that wow button. We like to get that feedback because it helps us know when we're on track. So definitely. Without further ado, here is Faith singing Altar of Love by Karen Drucker.
Thank you. Lay it down, set it free, let my heart rest and let it be. Lay it down, set it free, lay it down on the altar of love. I was walking through the seasons of dark and lonely change, where the world was on my shoulders and my faith was rearranged. I knew I'd never been given more than I could bear. My spirit reassures me there is an answer to my prayer. If I lay it down, set it free, let my heart rest and let it be. Lay it down, set it free, lay it down on the altar of love. So every single moment I am left with the choice: stay in separation or listen to that voice that beckons me to open and to be grateful for every day. It simply reminds me there can be another way. If I lay it down, set it free, let my heart rest and let it be. Lay it down, set it free, lay it down on the altar of love. Love is all there is. Love will lead the way. Lay it down, set it free, let my heart rest and let it be. Oh, lay it down, I'll set it all free. Lay it down on the altar of love. Lay it down.
Sorry. I need to have a clapping noise on the TV, on the screen or something, so I don't disturb her. For those of you who don't know, I have a Chihuahua on my lap, and she like freaks out every time I clap my hands.
That she does.
Thank you, Faith. That was wonderful. Thank you. Okay, well, today we're going to be talking about the blocks to unconditional love, which are unforgiveness and judgment. And I want to start by talking about this self-esteem program that I teach. This guy named Lillian Barksdale, whose son committed suicide. It was not a learned man. He didn't have any degrees or anything, but he went on this quest to understand why his son would do such a thing. And in the process, discovered a lot about self-esteem and how it affects us in our lives. And so his theory is that, and I believe it, but his theory is that everything that we do based on a prevailing awareness. Now, the prevailing awareness is something that we have culminated throughout our lifetime, and it's our point of view. So we have this prevailing awareness, and we act on that prevailing awareness. We build our values on it, and our values then turn into what our beliefs are. And our beliefs are stored, like I believe, in the subjective unconscious, which carries, it's like a hard drive, a computer hard drive. And so all of your experiences are stored there. And so what he says is that you cannot do anything that's beyond the prevailing awareness that you have. So everything that you do is based on the prevailing awareness at that moment. And then as we have other experiences, the prevailing awareness grows and expands and changes to a different prevailing awareness. Then we can do better next time. But in the moment, we are only able to do what our prevailing awareness informs us that is possible. And so when we're talking about prevailing awareness, it's important for us to remember that what happens is we have this prevailing awareness. We set up ourselves for taking action in some situation that provides a feedback loop that feeds back to us the belief that we had, which confirms our prevailing awareness. However, if with our prevailing awareness, we're able to create something else and have a different experience, then that educates our prevailing awareness, and it becomes a little bit different so that we can create something better the next time. So that's kind of how prevailing awareness works. So when I talk about unforgiveness, what I'm basically talking about is understanding that a person can only do what their prevailing awareness will let them do, right? So we get mad at people for what they've done or said, or how they've acted. And when we get mad at them for that, or we feel betrayed, or we feel hurt by something that they've done, what we need to remember is that they could only do what they could do through the prevailing awareness that they had. They can't change that. One of my mentor ministers, Reverend Patty Lucas, I think she's Reverend Dr. Patty Lukenbach now, used to talk about that unforgiveness or forgiveness is really unforgiveness. I can't remember now. I lost my train of thought, but she used to talk about unforgiveness and how that is really relevant to almost everything that happens to us, because we're sitting in this place of unforgiveness. And that's what it was. She says unforgiveness is wanting to go back and change the past, go back and change the situation so that the person that did whatever they did would do something else. And we know that's just not possible. We know that's not possible, not only because of the prevailing awareness, but also you cannot go back to the past and change it. So forgiveness then becomes an acceptance of what has happened. And we recognize we can't go back and change it. We recognize that that person was only doing what they could do with the prevailing awareness that they had at the time, right? And so it makes it easier to forgive them. And please know that forgiveness is not something we do for someone else. It's all about us. That person did whatever they did, and they've gone on, and they don't even give a second thought to it. And here we are churning it over and over and over in our mind, so that we are the ones who are suffering from it. They may not even be aware of what they did. And they've gone on with their lives, and we are punishing ourselves by hashing that over and over again. So forgiveness is about releasing our bondage to that experience and the feelings that come up as a result of that experience. So when I'm talking about the blocks to unconditional love, I'm saying that it's not about that other person, it's about us. Like, my ability to experience unconditional love is totally based on the idea that I've let go of anything that looks unlike that, right? Dr. Fred Vogt, one of my mentor ministers and a very good friend, used to say that there is no human unconditional love. He believed in the unconditional love of God, but he didn't believe that we as humans could actually experience unconditional love or practice unconditional. Well, I shouldn't say he didn't say we couldn't practice it, but he just didn't believe it existed in this world, human, unconditional love. And we argued with him. And I came to the point where it doesn't really matter to me whether it exists or not. It's like any vision that you go towards. You're going towards a goal that may not be attainable in the short term. Like, you may never reach it, but you set it as a vision, so it's a place that you're heading towards. And so that's how I think of unconditional love. So the more we practice something, the better we get at it, right? And so we are practicing here on earth unconditional love. We are agents of God's love here. And so whether or not we can actually unconditionally love another person, the reason he says that is he says that, there's always a prize, or there's always a benefit to the person for giving love. And he's right, I guess. You feel better about yourself. Okay, that's a benefit to you, right? So there's always a benefit to unconditional love. And that's why he says it's not unconditional, because that would make it conditional. So I always say that it doesn't really matter whether unconditional love is attainable or not. It is our practice of it, or our practice toward it, that is what we're all about. That's what we're here for. Hi. Last week, I talked about love being what we're here for. And that's really true. Like, we are here for love. We are here to be the agents of God's unconditional love, I believe. And so the more we practice that, the more we work on ourselves so that we are as much of a perfect channel through which unconditional love can flow, the more we're doing what we are put here on earth to do. And when I have not forgiven someone, excuse me, it blocks that flow. So for instance, I know I've talked about this a couple of times, and forgive me if you've heard this story, but Tammy Faye Baker and Vanilla Ice were in this reality show where they were living in this house, and Vanilla Ice didn't know who she was really or what she did. He'd heard the name, but he didn't know what made her special. So she was going to do a sermon one weekend, and he went to see what it was like. And she was talking about unforgiveness, and she said, in the dark ages, if someone committed a murder, they would strap the corpse onto their back, and they had to carry it around until the corpse rotted and fell off. And she said, unforgiveness is like that. And I think about that, and it's really true. The moment that we forgive someone else, we release that corpse from our back. We release the ties that bind us to that person and to that situation. And so no matter who it is and no matter what they've done, if we can really get into that space of knowing that what we do to release ourselves so that we can experience unconditional love and happiness, that it has nothing to do with that other person. And there's an awful lot of forgiving yourself as well. I'm really famous for saying, I can't believe I didn't see that coming. And then getting all down on myself for letting it happen, right? I think we all do that to a certain extent. And so I've had to learn not only to forgive that person for what they did, but also forgive myself for letting it happen. It's not like we can know every moment of every day what someone else is going to do, right? I mean, realistically. And so I've had to learn to forgive myself. And we do a lot of self-forgiveness exercises in our church because that's so important. Where we do meditations, where we see ourselves forgiving ourselves and embracing ourselves and that kind of thing. And I think that's really important. So that's the unforgiveness side of it. The judgment side of it is really interesting because when I have students, a lot of times they'll say, is it not okay to like something or dislike something? Because judgment is about, I use my judgment to decide whether I like something. No, that's a preference, and that's discernment. If I say I like chocolate ice cream or I hate chocolate ice cream, that's a preference or I'm losing words this morning. I'm sorry. I apologize. My husband's in the hospital and I'm a little distracted today. Anyway, that's discernment is the word I was looking for. I can discern that I don't like chocolate ice cream, right? But if I start to say chocolate ice cream is horrible, it's bad, that's when it's judgment. You see the difference? But we do that with people all the time. We do it with ourselves. I judge myself all the time. Not good or bad. I judge myself like, a smart person wouldn't do that. Really? You're a smart person and you did it. So we have to let go of those judgments of other people. And we have to let go of the judgments we have against ourselves. Because truly, if we are to be agents of God's unconditional love, it can't flow through us if we are judging that other person or if we're judging ourselves. And so that's what my definitions of forgiveness and judgment are. Now, the process of forgiveness starts with an understanding about how it works. We figure out there are situations where we are powerless to change. For instance, we can't change COVID. It happened. We can't change 9/11. It happened. My husband is choosing palliative care right now. I can't change that. I feel sort of powerless. Faith and I were talking about that last night, about how powerless we feel over the situation. Where our power is that we have the power to control our reaction to what he's doing right now. And so it's important for us to recognize that there are situations we are powerless to change. The point of power is to accept what happened and move on with our life. Not that I'm excited for him to go. But we have to stop judging the situation as bad or hard or wrong, because what we resist persists. I don't know about you, but I've seen situations where I'm resisting, and everywhere I look is whatever it is I'm resisting. It shows up everywhere. And then when I finally release it, all of a sudden I don't see it anymore. And that's really what happens. And the pain that we suffer comes from resisting. So if we stop resisting, we have an opportunity to claim our power back in that situation where we begin to feel good about things again. We have to recognize that there are situations that we are not willing to change. For whatever reason, we are not willing to change. If I'm unwilling to change how I feel, what I do, or what I think, then I need to accept that I'm unwilling to change them. We are human doings, and we're either driven excuse me. We are either driven towards a prize, or we are driven away from something where we're not willing to pay the price. And so we run towards that which our values tell us is something that is worth it to us. And if we are not willing to change, it's either that the prize itself is not worth it to us, or it has not as much value as it should, or that we're not willing to pay the price that it would take to change. And it's important for us to recognize that, because if we aren't willing to change, there's a whole other sort of circumstances that we have to embrace in acceptance. If I'm not willing to change that, okay, I accept that I'm not willing to change that. But if I really want my love or my life to change, then I really need to change my awareness, right? I need to change my mind. I need to change my thoughts. I need to change my heart. I need to change, there's something I need to change in order to affect that change in the world. And with unforgiveness, for example, as long as I'm withholding love from someone, there's either a prize that I'm getting for doing that, or there's a price that I'm unwilling to pay to release them, you see? And judgment is the same way. It's really funny. I learned so much from my dogs. I really do. I had this one dog, Maui, who was a Shiba Inu and American Eskimo mix. And we got her from a breeder out of state when she was 8 weeks old. And I don't know what happened to her in her previous life, honestly. But she came to us deathly afraid of men, especially young men, but even the older men too. And it was 3 weeks before I could leave her at home with Lynn, because she would hide under the furniture and pee everywhere and cry and just shiver the whole time I was gone. And she started to warm up to him, and then bit by bit I would leave her at home small amounts of time until she got used to Lynn. But we used to bring her to church because I thought, well, I can socialize her and get her over that, and she'll reach a point where men are not scary. She never actually reached that point, but she had a catalog of people that were church people. Faith's dad was one of them. And she, allowed her, so he wormed his way into her heart, and she allowed him to pet her, and she allowed him to hold her, and she allowed him in. And then he came to visit me at home one day, and it was like she didn't know him at all. She had cataloged him as church people are okay, but people who come to the house are not, right? And so we did a lot of work with her on men, that male energy just freaked her out so bad. And so one day she had this fan club over at the Barnes & Noble Starbucks. And we decided to take her to her fan club that day. And we walk in the door, and here is this guy who is just a customer, who is, I've never seen anybody look more like a vampire in my whole life. He had black hair, white makeup, white face makeup. He had black eyeliner and black eyeshadow and black lips. And he had long fingernails that were black. And he had a piercing in his nose that went up to his ear. He had piercings across his knuckles. He had black clothes. He had black shoes. He had black everything. Even had a little droplet of blood down the side of his chin here. And it was funny because we walk in the door, and I took note of his appearance. I'm not a big judger, I know people are goth. Oh, well, okay. But I was surprised at her reaction, which made me surprised at my own thoughts, because she ran in the door and basically leapt up into his arms. Never met this guy before. And I have to say I was really taken aback by it. And then I started thinking about it. Dogs don't judge on appearances. Dogs see what's in someone's heart, and they respond to that. And so no matter what this guy's appearance is, most people would judge him and say he must be a bad guy or, an evil guy. But he wasn't, because Maui just leapt up in his arms and was like, cuddling him and loving him. And it was just, I had never seen her act like that with a guy ever in her whole life. And that was after going to church for like 8 years with her, and having men, try to approach her. My neighbor next door, for example, just ignored her, and that's how he won her heart. He would just, nope, I'm not paying any attention to you, and she would beg for his attention. And that's kind of how he got in. So she taught me right then and there just how much we judge people by appearances, and how letting go of that judgment allows us to have a good experience, because she was a very happy little girl. I had this other dog, Chakotay, who was an Alaskan Malamute, not a little guy by any means. He was the biggest of all of our Alaskan Malamutes, 125 pounds. But he was so funny when he was a little puppy, because you'd scold him for something and he'd go, "Happy now?" And it was impossible to stay mad at him. But you see, he forgave immediately. He just forgave the whole situation immediately. Like, "Oh, you're yelling at me. Okay. Happy now?" And that taught me another valuable lesson about forgiveness, because they don't hold anything against anyone in their hearts. Even my other dog, Chakwa, my other Alaskan Malamute, who had his leg taken off from cancer, his front leg at the shoulder, 4 hours after the surgery, I asked the tech to go in and check on him. And he came back and he said, he was amazing. He jumped right up, ran over to me and started licking my face. And he forgave them for taking his leg, for whatever pain he was in. And I think that if we could manage to be as guileless, I guess is the word for it, as animals are, then I think that our life would be as happy as theirs. Have you ever known a dog that like wasn't happy? They seem to be full of joy, no matter what's going on in the world, right? And that's something we have to remember, because we judge the world by situations, politics or COVID, or whether we have to wear a mask or not. That's a whole thing about resistance. I had to learn to accept that was just the way it was, because I could resist it, sure, like a lot of people did. But I wanted to have a better experience. I didn't want to be mad all the time. I didn't want to, feel like somebody was taking something away from me, infringing on my rights or whatever else everybody was thinking about it. Oh, I can't breathe when I have a mask on. I just adjusted. I realized that we were in that situation. There was nothing I could do about it. So I accepted the situation. And when Lynn had his lung transplant and I had to, alter everything that I did in life, I can't be anywhere without a mask. I just accepted that too, because I realized that what was more important to me was that he lived than whether or not I had the freedom not to wear a mask. And so my point of all of this is we judge everything as good or bad, right or wrong, evil or, good. We judge everything that way. And when we do that, our experience of it is what suffers. I am not happy when I'm judging the world. I'm not happy when I'm judging other people. I'm not happy when I'm judging myself. And so I have learned to let go of all of that and accept whatever situation it is. Is it pleasant? No. Do I still feel pain? Yes. Do I cry? Oh, yes. But the difference is I'm not suffering, because I'm recognizing that I am in no position to change something. And if I can't change it, what good does it do to get mad about it or rage against it or resist it? It does no good at all. And so I've learned to forgive everyone for everything. Sometimes that's not easy. Sometimes it takes many, 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 many sessions before I accomplish that. And I reserve my judgment. I'm discerning. I know who I like and who I don't like, but I don't judge them as bad just because I don't like them. You see, that's the difference. I use my discernment instead of judgment. And so as we're going through life, and as we're accepting things that we cannot change, we then begin to build a much better life for ourselves, because we're no longer at the effect of those things that we have judged or those things that we refuse to forgive. And one last thing about all of that is that our prevailing awareness shifts and grows every time we do forgiveness work, or every time we let go of a judgment, because we then experience a different experience of that person or that situation or something. And it is in our accepting that we change our prevailing awareness so that the next time we do something, we don't repeat the same mistakes, right? We shift and change and grow, and our prevailing awareness grows with us. So in light of all of that, I really want you to think about this next week. The song is Lay It Down on the Altar of Love. Lay it all down. And that's really what I want us to do. Lay it down on that altar of love. Let it go. Let go of your judgments. Let go of your unforgiveness. Let go of the need to change things or people or places. Let it go. Lay it all down on the altar of love. Will you do that this week? Let's have a prayer. I just turn my awareness right now to the infinite power, the infinite lovingness, the infinite givingness. God. To that place within me that knows beyond human understanding just how powerful, how beautiful, how loving, how amazing God really is. That is where I find myself, in the midst of God. My very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages that flows through all of life. I know that same truth to be so for this wonderful team that God has given me, provided for me. Because I know that the same wisdom of the ages flows through each of them as it does through me, through all of life. And it is what informs our every action, our every thought, our every deed. Because it is who and what we are. I know that same truth to be so for everyone who's listening, whether that be in real time or later on. Because there is no place where one leaves off and the other begins. We are all one. Asan, all my brethren, we are related. And that same ancient wisdom of the ages flows through all, informing everything that we think, say, and do. So I bless this coming week, knowing that everything that we accept and everything we forgive and everything that we release judgment about paves the way for our life to be that joyous, happy experience that all of us want. Chica. I bless this coming week. I just know it's going to be a great week, filled with all kinds of wonderful experiences of God and how God operates. I know the same truth to be so for every name that is in the ministry of prayer today, because I do know that whatever situation we are in, God is the answer. God is underneath all of that. So I pull back the veil right now and reveal that truth, the love, life, the meaning of life, the powerfulness of God. I reveal all of that here As I claim that for each person in their name as good and very good. My heart just fills with gratitude to let this be so. And so it is. Amen.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world.
Thank you, Faith. Right now is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to express the gratitude that you feel for that which you have received in this physical world, or that which you have created in the mind of God and may not have yet experienced in the physical realm. In a moment, I'm going to have you go to www.oasiscsl.org. And about 2/3 down the page is our offering affirmation. And directly under that is our Contribute Now button. So let me just talk real briefly about contribution and what's going on with that. We are not in a facility, so we don't have rent or utilities or, all the usual expenses that go along with that. However, we do have a vision for a healed world, and I mean globally, a healed world. And our mission to get to that vision is that we heal the world one person at a time. Well, because it's global, we really need to market to the global world, right? We already have people from the UK or England, the Netherlands or Holland, Germany, Philippines, and India, right? Is that who it all is? And so we really want to expand that. And the only way to do that is to market. And so, unfortunately, it costs money to do that. So we ask you for your contribution for our vision and our mission to get there. So right now, please go with me to www.oasiscsl.org. And whether you're watching in real time or later on, you can do this with us. Please say this offering affirmation with me right now. This perfect gift is spirit and form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive. And so it is. Hit that Contribute Now button and help us with our mission to get to our vision. Gosh, hopefully he'll be out of the hospital soon. I'll be able to concentrate again. All right, so let's see. Oh, yes, we have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast who serve our ministry of prayer. They are the healing arm of the church, and we call our ministry of prayer the God Squad. I love that imagery of like, marching in. Anyway, we have people in Florida, Minnesota, California, pretty much coast to coast. We have licensed practitioners. Anyway, so they serve three functions in our ministry. One is that they pray every day for a week on any prayer request. So if you would like prayer for something, please put in the comment section what you would like prayer for. And if you don't want it to be public, you can DM Faith, and she will make sure our God Squad gets those prayer requests. The second way that they serve is by providing spiritual guidance by appointment for a fee. So if you would like an appointment for spiritual guidance, you can go on Facebook, look up Oz or Tina or the various Annie. Annie's another one. Celeste is in Minnesota. Look up these people and let them know that you would like to make an appointment. They'll tell you how to pay for it. We don't get involved in that. They are separate businesses. So whether they use Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, Wise, PayPal, we don't get involved in any of that. But they'll let you know how to pay for it, and then they will reach out to you by video chat at your appointed time. So definitely reach out to them if you're struggling with something, because they are so awesome. And then the final thing is what Oz usually does every week, and that is the practitioner of the day. And he is available for what we call our 1-minute miracle. It's not a time for counseling, but it is a time where you can share with him what challenge you're experiencing, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. So, and I assuming he will be available for that later on. Right now he is, I don't know where he is, but if he doesn't answer right away, try back later. Okay. All right. And then we have Brooks and Bailey. Let me get to that here. I love their mala beads. They have other jewelry, of course, but I love their mala beads. And the reason I love mala beads is because the Buddhists and the Hindus use these for doing their chants. They move one bead at a time, do a chant, move one bead at a time, do a chant. So I always say this is a great way to do affirmations. There's 108 beads on the necklace and 54 on the bracelet. So this one is amethyst. It's $60, but they have, depending on what gemstone you want, they have anything from $30 on up. So check them out at, you can reach them through brooksandbailey0307@gmail.com. Or they also have a Facebook page. Come, do whatever you want, but do it quickly. And then you can reach out to them, let them know that, you would like to find out how to get their bracelets and stuff. I also try, and in all the proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue, by the way. But I try to repost anything when they say they're going to be in an event and have a booth there. So definitely check these ladies out. All of their jewelry is really wonderful. But like I said, I really like the mala beads. Okay. And then we have an Etsy store by Angel Renee, who has intention candles and an intention tea bag that you can put in your bath water. And she uses all these aromatic herbs to help you focus on whatever your intention is, to stay focused on it. So definitely check her out. The information is in the comments, so you should be able to do that. Let me think what else I need to say. Yes, Elaine, Fairy Elaine, Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver's music. She can't edit her website to say what the form of payment is. And so what you need to do is go on there and get her email address and send her an email and say, I want this CD. The one today was which one? No, that was Karen Drucker. Sorry, never mind. We did a whole month of the Fairy Elaine Silver's stuff, Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver's stuff, last month. And a lot of her music is so good. It's so religious science. So anyway, You go on, you email her, let her know you want something. She's traveling around the country singing all the time, and she carries the CDs around in her car, in the trunk of her car. So when you say, I want this CD, she'll tell you how to pay for it, and then you can, and then she'll send it out to you the next day after you've done that. She's very good at getting them out right away. So, and then we have Karen Drucker, who her website does work. You can buy hers. You can buy the song, buy the CD, buy the karaoke file, buy the songbook, and even some of her pages in her songbook teach you how to do American Sign Language for that. So it's pretty cool. Definitely check these two ladies out. We couldn't do this without them. Buy something from them. We like to support those who support us, and they definitely are supporting us. So we love them. All right. And then check out our website at www.oasiscsl.org. There you're going to find video sermons from the last 4 years. Well, actually, I haven't been very good at keeping up on that, and I've been a little distracted the last few months. So we're working on the website, but it's going slower than I expected. But definitely there are audio sermons from years prior. And so what I've been doing is uploading to YouTube, and they're also on SoundCloud. YouTube has the video sermons, and SoundCloud has the audio sermons, and it's all under S. Tucker, so check that all out. Also, Facebook stores every one of these. So if you go to our page, Oasis CSL, you will see all of these sermons that we've done over the last 4 years. They're all there. So anyway. All right, let's see. I don't think we need to do that. I'm going to go ahead and pray us out, and then we'll come back and do closing. Okay. So right now, I just turn my awareness to the infinite power, the infinite presence of God, because I know that that is what is here present now. I know that each of us show up as that powerful presence, as aspects of that powerful presence. We are connected by it, through it, as it. And so I bless this coming week with an absolute knowingness about how good our lives can be and are. And I know that as we go through the next week, we are blessed and inspired and uplifted by that love of God that flows into us and through us and out of us. That unconditional love of God. And so I give thanks for this, to be in this awareness, to know it is true. And I just let it be. And so it is. Amen. All right. So next week, we're going to continue the month of love. Even though it's, I feel like you guys just hear me say over and over the same things, but I'm hoping that there is some value to every time I say it, another part of it becomes more, you become aware of more, another part of it. But we're going to continue for 2 more weeks on the month of love. And, or maybe it's only 1 more week. I'm very confused at the moment. Do you know, Faith, how many more Sundays we have? I think we only have 1 more in February.
Yep, 1 more.
Yeah.
And we'll be in March.
And then we'll be in March, and we'll talk about spring.
Woo!
Growth, happiness. Okay. So anyway, join us every week at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time. And especially next week, I'm going to be wrapping up all of the love stuff into one little container. And so next week will be great. So tune in next week and every week until we see you again. Thank you for being here. I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning. We're blessed that you are here with us. And so we hope to see you next week. Bye.